In a world where time is the great equalizer, Xu Jiao, a recent graduate, and her family navigate the challenges of daily life. Living with her father, Xi Yingxin, a hardworking sanitation worker, and her brother, Xi Junji, who seems more focused on scrap metals than academics, Xu Jiao strives to make a difference with her strong work ethic. Xu Jiao's dedication to time management and hard work becomes evident as she introduces herself, emphasizing her commitment to trading time for a spotless life. She shares the responsibility of caring for her family, especially after the tragic loss of her mother in a car accident a year ago. Xu Jiao's efforts are aimed at achieving independence early on to support her father and brother. The narrative shifts to Gu Renki, a successful entrepreneur known for his strict cleanliness standards. Gu, the founder of Kelinjisheng, a cleaning company, is determined to revolutionize cleaning through advanced technology. Gu Renki's high-tech robot keeps him clean by paying close attention to even the smallest details in his environment. He's someone who values cleanliness and has strict standards for maintaining a neat and tidy lifestyle. People think of him as too strict in cleanliness, which actually is misophobia, an extreme fear of dirt. Apart from that, Gu believes that a clean environment enhances the quality of life. As the story progresses, we see a remarkable difference in Xu Jiao's routine morning, filled with family dynamics that are fully mediocre. She is undisciplined but is hardworking and genial. She lives in the slums of her city while on the other hand, we see Gu as a disciplined rich guy who does his breakfast and dishes and looks well-schooled. The story unfolds as Xu Jiao crosses paths with Gu while he is being interviewed. A group of naughty boys stagger her way, and she accidentally ends up collapsing into Gu's car. She gives condolences and rushes away to maintain the streak of her fated interviews. Conversely, Gu Renki now needs to disinfect his car. As the story progresses, we come to know about Gu Renki's background as a successful and disciplined individual with over 30 scientific research inventions. His commitment to automation and cleanliness is showcased through the market valuation of Kelinjisheng, exceeding 100 million. As the story unfolds, Xu Jiao's aspiration to work for Kelinjisheng becomes evident. Attending Gu's speech, she hopes for a chance to join his company. Xu Jiao admires Gu's emphasis on utilizing time as a superpower, crucial for determining one's fate. His talk about survival of the fittest deeply resonates with Xu Jiao, motivating her to maximize her time and seize opportunities. After the speech, Gu Renki sits with a lady named Kaianqian, whom Gu's mother wishes him to date. However, the date takes a humorous turn when Gu notices Kaianqian's unclean coat and promptly abandons her. Xu Jiao's persistent efforts to secure a job at Kelinjisheng lead to an unexpected encounter with Gu Renki. While she passionately convinces him of being the ideal candidate, Gu interrupts, noticing her fatigue and the inappropriate situation of talking to a stranger during her job. Their conversation takes an awkward turn just as Xu Jiao is about to sneeze in front of Gu. So Gu readily flees, ceasing her sneeze by a piece of bread. The narrative seamlessly transitions between the characters' perspectives, offering insights into their lives. Gu Renki's mother visits his home, leaving the door open, urging him to apologize to Kaianqian, emphasizing her fame. Gu explains his reasons for abandoning the date, and amidst this, Top X, a sweeping robot, disappears, creating a humorous situation that reflects the unpredictability of advanced technology in daily life. On the contrary, Xu Jiao's struggles with temporary jobs and her commitment to supporting her family illustrate the challenges faced by many in the pursuit of financial stability. Along the way, she encounters Top X, unknowingly placing it in her bag without realizing its significance. The narrative takes an unexpected turn when Xu Jiao faces a mishap with a takeout delivery. Xu Jiao, working as a part-time courier, accidentally spills the food, leading to an amusing yet unfortunate incident. Gu, feeling sorry for spraying disinfectant on her food, refrains from physical contact due to her appearance, highlighting the contrast between his high standards and Xu Jiao's practical approach to life. The dialogue between them unfolds their differing perspectives. The awkwardness in Gu's response leaves Xu Jiao with the impression of him being unfriendly. As a part-time courier, Xu Jiao apologizes for the wasted food, causing a delay in another delivery. In need of a ride, she rejects a group of thugs and approaches a decent guy for assistance. He agrees to drop her home at a low price, but things take an interesting turn when he follows her for safety, making her uncomfortable. Xu Jiao shouts for help, which leads to an incident where her father comes to hush her but slips and gets unconscious by taking a hit on his head. Learning that the guy, Xiaolu, is their new neighbor makes Xu Jiao skeptical about his caring behavior for her dad, so she responds to him quite impolitely. She even gets her 5 yuan fare back from him. A flashback reveals that Gu Renki was traumatized by his father as an unclean little boy. This trauma drives him to establish a company and create the robot Top X, which holds great importance for him. Top X ends up in the hands of Xi Junji, who contemplates dismantling it but is surprised by the unexpected reward. He contacts Gu for the reward, arranging a meeting at a bar. The narrative shifts to Gu Renki's official staff, whose entrance prompts quick disinfection and heightened cleanliness due to Gu's strict standards. Gu always fires an employee for looking slightly unkempt, and an unlucky female employee caught red-handed with a hair on his desk and gets fired instantly. Xu Jiao, doing multiple shifts for a temporary job, discusses her day with her brother. Their father, struggling with alcohol after their mother's death, prompts them to play rock, paper, scissors to decide who will take care of him, with Xuanjiao often losing. During her duty as a garbage scavenger, Xuanjiao encounters two men who accidentally hit her with a tin can. Recognizing one of their friends as her senior, Mark, she covers her face with a rat head and flees, but they follow her. Simultaneously, Gu Renki is driving toward the bar in the same place. On her way, Xuanjiao accidentally collides with Gu Renki's car again, leading to a heated encounter. A crowd including his brother gathers around them. The accident completely covers Gu Renki's car with dirt which agitates him, so he grabs her arm, revealing her face, and an accidental fall turns into a romantic glance. However, a drop of Xuanjiao's sweat falls into Gu's mouth, causing him to push her away. Xuanjiao offers her number and takes responsibility for any damage, leaving with her trash can due to embarrassment and the need to care for her family. The event changes Shijunji's mind, deciding not to give the robot to Gu Renki, prioritizing his sister's self-respect over the reward. Despite his supportive behavior, Xuanjiao's mood remains off. The story takes a dramatic shift when Gu Renki discovers that Top X is now in the possession of the same girl he encountered multiple times in a day. The following day, as Xuanjiao begrudgingly rehearses lines of apology, Gu Renki's car approaches her, and his assistant hands her a page detailing a fine of 5,000. Engaging in an argument, Xuanjiao faces Gu Renki, who steps out of the car and straightforwardly inquires about Top X. Xuanjiao finds herself entangled in a series of events involving Gu Renki and a mysterious robot named Top X. The tension escalates when Gu Renki confronts her about the missing robot, accusing her of stealing it. Xuanjiao defends herself, claiming she found it, not stole it. Mr. Gu, frustrated, insists that she return Top X, and in return, he won't charge her for the repair fee. As Xuanjiao grapples with Gu Renki's accusations, she reflects on her actions and values. Gu Renki, in turn, questions her motives, accusing her of playing word games and deceiving people for financial gain. Xuanjiao, eager to avoid trouble, agrees to return the robot and even promises to repay the money reward. The narrative takes a turn as Xuanjiao's family dynamics come into play. Her brothers plead for her to return the robot, but she was furiously angry upon him. She doesn't even let him put his clothes on and chokes him. She severely rebukes him until a lady stops her from fighting his brother. She gets calmed after reading a message from his senior for a job. Amidst the family drama, the story delves into the company's dynamics, particularly the challenges faced by the manual cleaning department of Kelenjisheng. Gu Renki rejects the hiring of Xuanjiao inside the company because he believes that the motto of their cleaning company can only be achieved by machines. His uncle Jin, an old employee who has even worked with his grandfather, tells him that machines will never replace humans as they lack sentimental emotions. But Gu Renki prefers them because they never make mistakes. Anyhow, he makes a promise not to interrupt his uncle Jin for 3 months to run a manual cleaning department. As Gu Renki prepares to study abroad, the story reveals glimpses of his past, showcasing the expectations placed on him by his grandfather. The pressure to uphold the family legacy and achieve infallibility in business becomes a recurring theme, shedding light on Gu Renki's internal struggles. The story shifts its focus to Xuanjiao's live streaming endeavors. She just does what his senior tells her to do while in the stream. She eats the food madly, which causes pain in her stomach. Further, she gets sorrowful after knowing that she is being used by her seniors, who even disrespect her passion for work. She declines any further working relations with him. With such an off mood, she gives Gu Renki his robot, Top X, and doesn't care for any of his strict cleaning measures and directly hands him 200 yuan. On leaving his place, she feels severe pain in his stomach and gets unconscious. Gu readily gets him into the hospital, nearly moistening her with his cleaning spray. In the hospital, a nurse tells Gu that Xuanjiao got a severe gastric spasm due to a long-term irregular diet and he must stay and care for him. Gu goes to pay her medical expenses and he could help to stand in the line as the very next person is ill, so a new lady gets in front of him. He lets her stay, but as others add to the line, he also starts coughing and tells them he has viral flu, so they must stay behind them. After waiting for a long time, he comes to know by the attendee that he needs to have the ID card of the patient. Gu Renki tries to wake Xuanjiao, but she is unconscious, so he grabs her card from the bag himself. Once a while, Gu questions himself why even he cares for Xuanjiao. His assistant Dongxian comes a bit late, so he hushes him as Xuanjiao is sleeping. He puts a blanket on her and leaves quietly. In the morning, when Xuanjiao opens his eyes, he finds Lu Ziyan in front of her. He tells her about the gastric spasm she gets by eating irritating foods. He also prepares a soup for her, which makes Xuanjiao question him if he took her to the hospital. Lu Ziyan tells her that her father and brother have taken care of her and he is only here to pick her on his precious bike, and this time for no fare. He also tries to give her some soup, but she doesn't take it. Lu Ziyan knows how much effort Xuanjiao was putting into taking care of his family, so he asks her if she will not take care of herself, she will give more worry to her family rather than comforting them. Xuanjiao gets surprised to see the serious side of Xiaolu. As the story progresses, we see Dongxian waiting for Gu in the basement. While he awaits, he sees a huge lump of garbage on his car. He washes the waste and completely disinfects the car. As Gu gets into the car, he starts to smell something strange and asks Dongxian, who hides the tell about the waste and changes topic. Xu and Jiao also had his first day of work in Gu's company. She enters the builder in utter surprise and gives her breakfast to an attendee. Afterwards, she beautifully adorned her office. As Gu Renkui comes across her cleaning the ground, he tries to convince her of a smell, to which firstly she disagrees, but after she points out at the waste clinging to Gu's shoes. He gets flabbergasted after hearing Dongxian that he is having a lump of wasting on his shoes from the basement of the building. Gu goes straight into his wardrobe and throws his shoes into the dustbin. He disinfects his complete dress and even removes the dress. While he is wearing the new one, Xu and Jiao happens to come inside the room after taking his consent. She gets enchanted to see the strikingly fit physicality of him, but she turns away and hesitantly tells Gu Renkui not to worry because his father and brother are always half naked in her home. Gu asks her why she has come to him, to which she replies that he must be the person who brought her to the hospital. So she is highly thankful to him, and afterwards she tells him to fix the buttons of his shirt, which further annoys him. After a while, Gu hears her talking with someone in the bathroom about winning Gu Renkui attention by all means. Gu counts all of his interactions with Xu and Jiao as mere opportunities to win his attention. So he comes to his office to fire Xu and Jiao, but reminds of the promise he made with Uncle Jin and decides not to interrupt him for the period of 3 months. The story proceeds with the entrance of Ganki and Gu building. An attendee asks her to sign an entrance paper, but as soon she realizes she is the famous celebrity Ganki, she immediately asks for an autograph, being a huge fan. Ganki denies as per her lawyer's suggestions. She sits with Gu and converse about the promising sales of their company through her live streaming platform. While she talks, Gu is absorbed in his thoughts of Xu and Jiao's evil ambitions and purposely spills tea on his hand and calls Xu and Jiao to clean the dirty place. After a while, Xu and Jiao comes to his office and starts cleaning the place. Ganki is telling Gu about a new topic of her theme, which is love of young graduates just like him. Gu Renkui purposely starts to make up his words on his choice of a spouse he will love. He tells Ganki that he wants an independent woman, not a gold digger, hinting at Xu and Jiao. While he tries to taunt Xu and Jiao, he observes that she is not getting affected by his words. Perhaps she must be playing strategically. Ganki asks Gu to have dinner with her, but Gu declines because he has to attend a meeting. The next day, while an employee is briefing Gu of his research about sterilization, Gu is immersed in thoughts of her. Meanwhile, Xu and Jiao happens to appear again in front of him to clean the window. Gu can't help but move towards her to check how she is even getting everywhere he goes so ignorantly. So he gets near the window to observe her because she cannot see through it. Gu mistakenly pushes the button of window refraction, which makes him visible to Xu and Jiao, and she gets scared of such close sight and falls to the ground. In a bustling world filled with unexpected twists, Xu and Jiao finds herself entangled in the intricacies of her work at the manual cleaning department. As she navigates through challenges under the watchful eye of Gu Renkui, the story unfolds with moments of humor, tension, and human connection. The narrative introduces Hayu, Xu and Jiao's colleague in the R&D department, who offers assistance after encountering an unfortunate incident at work. Amid Gu Renkui's critiques, Xu and Jiao strives to improve her work performance in the company. The dynamics at Kellen Jisheng come to life with the introduction of Wu Yu from the technical department, a character known for his silent behavior. Though Xu and Jiao finds Gu unfriendly, she develops a good relationship with other employees. In this particular plot, Lu Ziyan has a heated argument with a girl and ends their relationship. Xu and Jiao refers to him as a playboy, mentioning that she saw another girl leaving her home in tears just 2 days ago. During their conversation, Xu and Jiao's bag falls off. Lu Ziyan gets an idea from the window cleaner that Xu and Jiao works as a sanitary worker in the same company as her father. Xu and Jiao has challenged Lu Ziyan not to disclose her occupation to any of her family members, and he tries to prevent him. However, to Xu and Jiao's surprise, Lu Ziyan has developed a close relationship with her brother. Her father is also a big admirer of Lu Ziyan, which has left Xu and Jiao wondering how he managed to win her family over. During lunch, Xu and Jiao tells her father that she works in sales, but Lu Ziyan adds that it is more of a physical job. Xu and Jiao steps on him, warning him not to reveal more about her career, to which he agrees. Meanwhile, Gu Renkui is still preoccupied with thoughts of Xu and Jiao. He can't believe how often she's on his mind. The next day, an employee leaves a rotten oyster in the office, and no one is willing to remove it because it emits an unbearable smell. Xu and Jiao steps in and immediately cleans up the area. Everyone admires her for her quick action, even though her uncle Jin had proposed handing over the company's 5-star accumulation to her. However, Gu opposes this proposal and states that she is not suitable for the job because cleaning requires one to have a sense of smell. Xu and Jiao responds by saying that she can't smell. She also warns that she will be fired if she tries to deceive other employees to gain more attention at work. Later, Gu tries to prove that Xu and Jiao can smell. He first offers her some smelly food, which Xu and Jiao quickly eats without discomfort, while the rest of the staff cannot bear the smell. Then, he drops a stinky sock and asks Xu and Jiao to pick it up. Surprisingly, Xu and Jiao not only picks it up but also tries to give it to Gu Renkui, making him run away. In another round, Gu gives her pleasant food that smells good and catches her to stop eating it. Xu Jiao tells him she is hungry, so she swallows all the food, not the one that smells good. Losing in all the tricks, Gu plays the final trick, spraying a smelly scent in her cabin that she doesn't bear, making an off day. Lu Ziyan is waiting outside the building to pick up Xu Jiao. Watching her intimate relationship with Xu Jiao makes Gu a bit concerned, which will develop a new turn in the story. Xu Jiao changes her dress at Xiaolu's house while returning home. She does not want to reveal to her father that she works in the sanitary sector. Lu Ziyan helps her wash her clothes, and Xu Jiao compliments him by calling him a sugarcane man. However, Lu Ziyan is unhappy with the comparison, as sugarcane is often discarded after use. Despite this, their friendly relationship continues. Meanwhile, Gu Renkui still thinks about Xu Jiao and suspects she is trying to manipulate him by using another guy to grab his attention. In the middle of his confusion, he finds dirt in his office and instructs Dongxian to immediately call Xu Jiao to clean it. However, during the call, Xu Jiao falls down the stairs and injures her foot. Dongxian informs Gu that Xu Jiao is in trouble, and he rushes to her house to check on her. The story becomes more interesting as Xu Jiao doesn't give up on Shijunji for missing classes. Meanwhile, a new character, Sister Zhu Yan, is introduced. When Xu Jiao finds Shijunji working at a mobile accessory shop, he tells her he is struggling with his grades and wants to contribute to his family's expenses. While they're talking, Xu Jiao arrives and starts arguing because Shijunji isn't studying for his exams. Shijunji tries to deceive her by telling her he's dating Zhu Yan, but Xu Jiao knows that Zhu Yan would never choose to date someone who's not intelligent. However, Zhu Yan assures her that Shijunji has promised to change his ways and focus on his studies, providing numerous guarantees. Despite Zhu Yan's reassurances, Xu Jiao remains skeptical, leading to a heated exchange between the sisters. During the argument, Lu Ziyan carries Xu Jiao on his back to take her home. This act of kindness creates a sense of affection in her heart. Zhu Yu and Junji are also surprised by their friendly gesture. Gu Renkui finds Xu Jiao on the roadside during the story and asks her about the overnight work. Shijunji intervenes, stating that his sister is being put into a very laborious job. Later, there is a heated argument between Lu Ziyan and Gu about working the night shift, eventually resulting in Xu Jiao being allowed to rest at home. While they are on their way, Dongxian advises Gu to show more concern for Xu Jiao, but he denies it. As the story progresses, the focus shifts to Gu Renkui's struggle with misophobia. Dongxian asks if he has made an appointment with Aunt Meihua, the psychological consultant, but Gu seems interested in something else. In this scene, Lu Ziyan is seen medicating Xu Jiao at her home. He inquires if Gu Renkui cares for her, to which she responds with her pent-up resentment towards him. She sees him as a clean freak who has no feelings for anyone. Lu Ziyan then asks for her impression of himself, and she bluntly replies that he is a playboy, and his smooth-talking nature won't work on her. Later that night, Gu confesses to his psychologist about his newfound caring feelings for Xu Jiao despite her unhygienic habits. His psychologist advises him to avoid her, as those feelings could worsen his misophobia, which could lead to severe health problems. The following day, Kai and Kian went to their office to search for a model who had experience eating products in live broadcasts and was more relatable. She gave this task to Louis Mark, who was Xu Jiao's senior. Meanwhile, Gu Renkui brought a pain relief patch for Xu Jiao but still showed indifferent behavior towards Dongxian. Gu received a message that praised his manual cleaning department's work for their program. He then asked Uncle Jin, whom he had appointed, to complete the Goyon entertainment program. This behavior indicated that he cared for Xu Jiao because she had already been injured. Later, we see Gu Renkui take an interest in Xu Jiao's affairs despite his psychologist's suggestion. He delved into the lift with Louis Mark and acknowledged that he only used Xu Jiao. Meanwhile, Louis Mark is trying to convince Xu Jiao to do the live broadcast work. He follows her to the basement, where Renki happens to be in his car. Louis Mark secretly listens to Renki's conversation with Xu Jiao. Renki ridicules Xu Jiao's cleaning job and calls her ungrateful despite giving her a lot of work. Xu Jiao is upset by his critical views about her. She replies to Renki, saying he cut some of her payment and doesn't respect her. A colleague comes to Xu Jiao's van and gives her a file for the manager to review their work. On her way, she meets Louis Mark again, who grabs her shoulders, tries to apologize, and convinces her to work. Gu Renki and Kai and Kian happen to walk towards them, where Kai and Kian appreciates their cleaning work. She asks Gu if she can borrow Xu Jiao for her advertising broadcast, but Gu inquires from Louis Mark if he has convinced Xu Jiao. Gu watches Louis Mark grab Xu Jiao's shoulders and convince her to work. Gu grabs her arm and pulls her towards him. Kai and Kian is surprised to see such a concerning nature of Gu. He further warns Louis Mark that he will never let any of his employees get forced to do a job they don't want to do. Saying this, he grabs her hand and walks through the office without caring about his strict social standards. In the hustle and bustle of Goyon Entertainment, a hushed conversation unfolded between two individuals. Xu Jiao, standing her ground, insisted that her feet were perfectly fine despite the rumors circulating about an injury. She reassured Gu Renkui of her loyalty to the company, expressing her dedication since joining. However, the atmosphere grew tense as Gu Renkui seemed agitated. As the tension escalated, Gu Renkui suddenly passed out, leaving those around him in shock. Concerned voices filled the air, questioning the cause of his sudden collapse. The situation took an unexpected turn as onlookers discovered the identity of a mysterious girl, a cleaner that somehow accidentally kissed Gu Renkui. Amid the chaos, Shishu and Zhao apologized profusely, expressing remorse for any unintended harm caused to Gu Renkui. Despite her sincere apology, Ganki advised her to recognize her status and not disrupt Gu Renkui's recovery. In a moment of vulnerability, Gu Renkui found himself in a hospital bed, his wrist moderately sprained and ligament partially torn. The doctor advised confinement of wrist movement, ice compress, and hospital recuperation. Meanwhile, Shishu and Zhao, laden with guilt, sought forgiveness and promised daily visits with bone soup to aid in his recovery. The story gets entertaining because Shu and Zhao is now going to prepare a healthy soup and she has gathered all the ingredients, but finds it hard to make it alone, so Lu Ziyan assists her in making the soup. When Shijunji tries the finalized soup, he instantly runs off to the bathroom. Then we see the preparation of the second one. This time Lu Ziyan sneakingly adds the missing ingredients. After multiple hours of cooking, the soup tastes so good. But when Lu Ziyan wants to have more, then Shu and Zhao stops him because she has prepared it for Gu Renkui. She tells him that he has been hospitalized because of her, so she must take care of him. Outside the hospital, Shishu and Zhao found herself in an unexpected encounter with Gu Renkui's grandfather. The elderly man, disapproving of Gu Renkui's condition, criticized him for not following his life plan. He also tells Gu to fire the girl which put her in such a situation, but Gu denies Shu and Zhao for being responsible for the situation. His grandfather leaves him repeating the haunting phrases that he has been bearing his whole childhood. The narrative took an emotional turn as Shishu and Zhao, carrying a sense of responsibility, visited Gu Renkui regularly with homemade bone soup. Despite Gu Renkui's initial resistance, Shishu and Zhao persisted in her efforts to provide comfort and care. Their interactions revealed a nuanced relationship evolving beyond the workplace dynamics. Simultaneously, we see Ganki navigating social encounters, such as a flirtatious exchange with a man named Jiang Wenchai and a caring act of Dongxian through multiple occasions, which shows the social dynamics of famous models. In a private moment, you see Gu irresistibly fall in the thoughts of Shu and Zhao, and all the scenarios he had been with just printed a lasting memory in his head. So Gu Renkui confided in a psychiatrist about his misophobia and the recent developments with Shishu and Zhao. Seeking professional advice, he inquired about the possibility of his cleanliness fetish disappearing due to a specific person. The psychiatrist urged caution and suggested maintaining a distance until the impact was better understood. The complexities of love and friendship emerged as Shishu and Zhao faced teasing about a potential romantic interest in Lu Ziyan. Despite her denials, her best friend, Zhu Yan, playfully teased her about being in love. In the corporate battleground, Dongxian received a peculiar request from Gu Renkui to contact the CEO of BG Group. Gu Renkui sought a brief delay in their project, given his recent injury and hospitalization. Dongxian, understanding the urgency, quickly left to carry out the CEO's instructions, leaving Gu Renkui and Shishu and Zhao alone. Shishu and Zhao, feeling a sense of responsibility for Gu Renkui's predicament, expressed her dedication to helping him. The proposal from BG Group was a significant project that Gu Renkui had invested substantial efforts into throughout the year. The potential delay posed a threat as other companies vied for the same project. In a heartfelt moment, colleagues rallied together to support Gu Renkui. Despite the challenges, they recognized the importance of standing by their leader in times of trouble. The camaraderie among the employees highlighted a shared commitment to the success of their company, Kellen Zhisheng. As they prepare to meet with BG Group for the proposal, tensions run high, as someone is already spying on them. Outside the office area, an unforeseen obstacle presented itself. Shishu and Zhao and her colleagues faced heightened security measures, requiring identification verification for entry. The challenges continued as the security guards asked their identity cards for entrance, exposing Dongxian's criminal record. Now all the pressure is on Shu and Zhao to present her company. Inside BG Group's office, Shishu and Zhao presented Kellen Zhisheng's cleaning plan. Despite initial doubts, Shishu and Zhao somehow hesitantly navigated the situation, emphasizing the advantages of manual labor and the intelligence behind their cleaning machines. However, the unexpected took a turn when Shishu and Zhao's cover was blown. Her confession of being a cleaning staff, not a proposal team member, raised eyebrows among BG Group representatives. Despite the setback, she continued to advocate for Kellen Zhisheng's innovative approach to cleaning. In a more intimate moment, Gu Renkui, acknowledging Shishu and Zhao's efforts, expressed gratitude for her dedication. The evolving dynamics hinted at a deeper connection developing between the two characters, transcending the professional realm. The situation unfolded dramatically as Gu Renkui, disguised as a cleaning staff member, joined the proposal team. Despite the challenges, Kellen Zhisheng's proposal received positive feedback. Gu Renkui's presence added a unique touch to the presentation, and the team's innovative cleaning approach garnered interest. The competition with BG Group continued, but Kellen Zhisheng's resilience and creativity left a lasting impression. Outside the meeting room, Gu happens to interact with Mr. Jiang. He is a stern guy who is proud to build his company from scratch. He jolts Gu of being born with a golden spoon and running a ready-made company, to which Gu replies that it's merely his competence that always surpasses his company. The story took an unexpected turn when Gu Renkui, driven by concern for Xu and Jiao, rushed to her aid after she was splashed with dirty water. He tries to follow him, but Xu and Jiao seizes him. Her actions, coupled with the revelation of an old clothes exchange from Gu, added a touch of warmth to their developing relationship. The story takes a decisive turn at the home of Xu and Jiao. Lu Ziyan gets agitated to see her drenched in dirty water. He complains to Mr. Gu for the mistreatment with her, to which Gu replies that it's his company affairs, he need not to bother. Lu Ziyan shows his concern by grabbing Xu and Jiao towards his side, which creates unpredictability in the story. The tension between Lu Ziyan and Gu Renkui de escalate as Xu and Jiao pats Ziyan's leg, hinting that she is alright. Mr. Gu tells her to let Xu and Jiao go home because she can catch fever from being outside for long. Hayo had diarrhea and Wu Yu was taken away. Dong Xian ceased to enter. Gu and Xu and Jiao had been splashed by dirty water, and the appearance of Jiang Wenchai in the BJ meeting is not a coincidence. Gu is sure that someone has planned it all. Well, Gu Renkui is sorting such an intricacy while in a female clothing brand. A female asks either of them who wants to wear the dress. Both of them get surprised and tell them that they have come to buy a dress for someone else. On the other side, we see an intimate relationship between Lu Ziyan and Xu and Jiao. Lu Ziyan asks her about her future with Kellen Jisheng because he thinks that the owner of the company, Mr. Gu, is abnormal and not good for her. Xu and Jiao replies that he has met him a few times and how he can develop a stance about him. Surprisingly, Gu Renkui appears at the door, and both Lu Ziyan and Gu Renkui question each other's presence at Xu and Jiao home. Gu Renkui gives Xu and Jiao 2 bags as compensation for the company, which makes Lu Ziyan a bit concerned. But both of the guys leave her home because Xu and Jiao feels fever needs to take rest. When she opens the bags, she finds a note which encrypts that white dress suits her and tries not to smudge it. Such an emphatic note creates a turnaround of the outlook of Xu and Jiao about Gu Renkui. The next day, Xu and Jiao wears the dress and looks adorable, so Lu Ziyan also praises the dress, but when he comes to know that the dress is given by Gu Renkui, he immediately changes his stance. Furthermore, after hearing from Xu and Jiao that she is going to meet someone special today, he shows disinterest in giving her a ride to her office. Back in the office, everyone looks surprised to look at her adorable dress. Xu and Jiao looks excited as she even tells Hayu that he is going to meet a special person today. While interacting with Gu Renkui, Xu and Jiao gives back his coat. Mr. Gu praises her new outlook, but while he talks, he awkwardly gets near her. Xu and Jiao thinks of a vivid picture in his mind, but it turns out to be a piece of thread on her neck. Afterwards, we see a note on the bag containing a coat which also inscribes a meeting with an important person. Gu thinks that she is ashamed to ask in front of everyone, so she leaves a note for him. Afterwards, we see that Guy Renkui doesn't like the smell of even expensive bone soups. It is because he developed a taste from the soup Xu and Jiao prepared. Gu realizes that he starts liking her dishes, so why not grabbing her cup from the staff lounge and replacing it with an identical one? While he sneaks into there, Xu and Jiao happens to appear there. Gu hides the cup behind him and successfully shifts the topic of conversation about the cleaning orders Xu and Jiao recently had. Xu and Jiao tells him the person was not cooperative. In addition, he had his legs injured and is away on the wheelchair. She wonders how he can clean his house with assistance. This phrase makes Gu Renkui remember his childhood traumatic events. This conversation leads to more understanding between the two characters, and we see Gu altogether changes because he chooses to wear the washed clothes by Xu and Jiao, and her cup, which surprisingly removes his strict measures to disinfect everything. After a while, Xu and Jiao comes to his office to tell that she is unable to attend that particular order, to which she gets surprised by the flexible dealings of Gu with her. Xu and Jiao hesitantly tells one more thing, that she wants to take leave today because she needs to meet a very important person. Gu Renkui's excitement blows away just by knowing the special person is not him. He inquires from her if it's a special customer, to which Xu and Jiao doesn't answer and termed it as a private affair. So he gets angry and doesn't allow her to leave before time. Further, he removes her washed coat and throws away her note too. He feels of himself as a foolish, sentimental person. The story delves into a touching scene where Xu and Jiao visits her mother's grave, sharing updates about the family and seeking solace. Though she works hard, she expresses the true emotion of women fighting all alone for her family after her mother's death. His brother also happens to be there. Every time he watches her sister sad, he feels bad for not doing anything for her. With this sad mood, she comes home where Lu Ziyan brings her strawberry ice cream and shares some sentences for relieving her. On the other side, we see Shi Junji worried about his future. Sister Zhu Yan gets him to her place as he looks subjugated one day prior to his final examination. In another plot, Lu Ziyan's assistance in picking a drink from the cabin filled a roller coaster of emotions in the story. Lu Ziyan ridicules her as a draft, but gives her an idea by saying that he will build every cabin for her 1 meter high so she could easily reach it. She hits upon a plan of how she can help his athlete customer in cleaning his home. She immediately runs towards the company where she meets with Uncle Jin. She tells him that she figures out how she will clean the athlete's house. She tells him that he must be afraid that we could mess up with his orderly arrangement of items. That is why he never let anyone enter his home to clean. but if placed the items in their place he would have no problems whatsoever. Uncle Jin gives her a thumbs up and tells her that Gu Renkui would also be happy by her performance in the company. While Gu Renkui comes down from the stairs, Xuan Zhao speaks of liking him puts him into shock. He immediately goes back into his room. But the story gets humorous upon the reassurance from Uncle Jin. She says that she likes the salary from Gu Renkui. In utter surprise, Gu opens up her pot to have the essence of her feelings by drinking water from it. The scene shifts towards the conversation between Shijunji and Juyan where she finds her too demotivated for her entrance examination. So she tries to give him little motivation and also offers to drop him off at college. Shijunji feels as a troublemaker for his family and loses hope for doing better for them. Juyan's encouragement and belief in Junji's abilities showcase the familial bonds within the household. The light bulb suddenly fuses so Juyan brings out a new one and tries to change it. Shijunji grabs it from her and tries to replace it. Watching this, Juyan immediately goes to turn off the switch but he has already replaced it in no clear sight. We come to see a new breakthrough in the story at this moment. In Gu's home her mother visits him and drinks water from Xuan Zhao's cup. This makes him a bit concerned and he starts to clean it up. She wants him to watch a video in which Ganki is talking about the true meaning of loving a person. It goes like you will start liking everything related to it, missing it when alone and finding confusion and making every decision related to it. Gu finds him in such a situation but shows no interest in the video after all. The narrative shifts to the day of Junji's college entrance exam, where family members rally to offer encouragement. Junji's departure for the exam, coupled with Juyan's supportive gestures, reflects the emotional nuances of sibling relationships. At the college, Shijunji feels encouraged and motivated. He also asked Juyan for lucky charms, a hug to which she agreed. Such an act reflects a catalog of feelings that young college boys want and sensation of feelings that arises in girls. She gives him an umbrella and wishes her well for the exam. Xuan Zhao once again tries to convince Mr. Lai the athlete to let his house get clean, but this time with a persuasive idea. However, Mr. Lai doesn't cooperate with her at all, so she returns unsuccessful and also gets her slammed by the door. Back in the office, everyone chants about Kyankian's last day broadcast about love. Although Gu is moved by it, he calls it crap. In the manual cleaning department, the complaint from one order creates tension among the employees because Gu Renkui already wants to remove the department from the company. Xuan Zhao takes the blame, but Uncle Jin suggested the staff to look at the future prospects with diligence and move on clearing the differences among them. Xuan Zhao expresses her sorrowful gesture towards the staff and also takes the responsibility to talk with Gu Renkui. However, she doesn't find him at the office, so hits upon an idea to deep clean his office that might create a pleasant impression on him. So she starts to clean the office, and while she is cleaning his chair, Gu Renkui along with Dongxian comes into the room. They are talking about her, so she remains hidden under the table. She gets surprised to hear Dongxian inquiring whether he likes Xuan Zhao because he always talks about her. In spite of all the hints, Gu Renkui decides to portray that he doesn't like her, and Xuan Zhao's motives also appears to be impure. His excessive attention towards her is only to catch her making mistakes so he can fire her. Xuan Zhao can't hold back and instantly speaks up for reassurance of his keenness to fire her. It turns the drama into a thrilling direction. In a small town where people's lives were intertwined like the threads of fate, Xuan Zhao found herself at the center of an emotional storm. Gu Renkui, a predictable figure in her life, wanted to dismiss her from work, leaving Xuan Zhao questioning her worth. As Xuan Zhao returns home, her family only awaits the return of Junji, who has just finished his college entrance examination. Amidst the celebration, Xuan Zhao can't stop thinking about the hurtful words, even though the house is excitedly buzzing. Gu Renkui, on the other hand, wrestles with regret over his harsh words. Dongxian offers to take him home, questioning the sincerity of his remarks about Xuan Zhao. Gu Renkui left without clarifying things, burdened with shame. This left a trail of unresolved emotions behind. The atmosphere in Xuan Zhao's house is pleasant, yet Xuan Zhao struggles to mask her pain. Lu Ziyan notices her unease and offers to help with the dishes. As they work together, Xuan Zhao's emotions spill over. Feeling sorry for touching a book of sentimental value, Lu Ziyan unintentionally witnesses Xuan Zhao's vulnerability. With a gentle understanding, Lu Ziyan reassures Xuan Zhao that setbacks at work don't define her worth. He pointed out the surrounding happiness, particularly the joy of Junji's successful examination. Despite the comforting words, Xuan Zhao can't shake off feeling unwanted at work. Xuan Zhao confided in Lu Ziyan about her struggles in a moment of emotional release. She shares her desire to earn and support her family while admitting her fear of being perceived as a failure. Lu Ziyan recognizes her pain and reminds her of her mother's wishes for her happiness. This revelation profoundly impacted Xuan Zhao, making her realize the importance of self-worth beyond the judgments of others. She gets filled with a newfound determination and vows to face challenges head-on. In the maze of intertwined lives, each character faces their battles. Gu Renkui struggles with regret, Junji with tension, and Xuan Zhao with newfound strength. The small town witnesses their stories, a blend of emotions created by their choices. The next day, Xuan Zhao arrives at the office early, ready to confront the adversities that awaited her. Early in the morning, Xuan Zhao meets Dongxian, who is carrying Gu Renqui's suit. She greets him with kindness and offers to take the suit upstairs. She insists without giving him a chance to refuse. Dongxian, surprised by Xuan Zhao's unusual behavior, couldn't understand what was troubling her on this particular day. Later, Gu Renqui approached Xuan Zhao to make amends for the tension from the previous day. However, Xuan Zhao, still angry, dismissed his explanation rudely, leaving Gu Renqui yearning to convey his sincerity. During a critical company meeting, Gu Renqui excitedly presented the Top X series products, the company's secret weapon. Unfortunately, when he reaches for his phone, he accidentally grabs a smelly sock that belongs to a homeless man instead, causing chaos in the room. Xuan Zhao, enjoying her revenge, cannot contain her satisfaction and vows to make Gu Renqui pay for his harsh words. In another plot, Xuan Zhao pranks Gu Renqui during a client meeting. As he attempts to offer his business card, it amusingly transforms into a fitness card, leaving Gu Renqui flustered and embarrassed. Xuan Zhao's acts of vengeance seem endless, each adding to her satisfaction of seeing Gu Renqui's discomfort. Meanwhile, Ganki from the HR department confronts Louis Mark about his official employee status. Feeling the weight of the situation, Louis Mark tries to distance himself from the conflicts between Xuan Zhao and Gu Renqui. However, Ganki refuses to sign, citing Louis Mark's unprofessionalism, and urges him to reconsider his actions. Louis Mark, feeling sad, pursues comfort in a drink. Coincidentally, Mr. Zhang, curious about details regarding Gu Renqui, joined him. Mr. Zhang efficiently gathers information in their conversation, indicating that Gu Renqui might take advantage of simple and kind individuals. Gu Renqui, troubled by many emotions, sought advice from Dongxian, who remained mindful of Xuan Zhao's revenge plans. Attempting to communicate his thoughts, Gu Renqui faces repeated interruptions, leaving him frustrated and questioning his actions. In a parallel universe, cheerful colleagues gather at a restaurant to celebrate. Xuan Zhao proposes a playful game where they can humorously criticize Gu Renqui. However, her colleagues hesitate to speak against him, scared by his imposing behavior. Xuan Zhao leads the way by sharing funny complaints about Gu Renqui's meticulous nature and intimidating presence. The complex web of office relationships continues to evolve as warm-hearted friends share laughter and friendship. Xuan Zhao's quest for revenge, Louis Mark's professional struggles, and Gu Renqui's study are all woven together. Xuan Zhao, attempting to fan the flames against Gu Renqui, fails as her colleagues praise him for his transparency and teaching approach. Dongxian shares his positive experiences working with Gu Renqui, emphasizing his willingness to acknowledge everyone's efforts. Xuan Zhao starts questioning her negative opinions about Gu Renqui in a surprising turn of events. Despite her attempts to turn her colleagues against him, they continue to celebrate his virtues, making her wonder if she has misunderstood him. The next day, Gu Renqui hands his phone to Dongxian in a strategic move when Ganki calls. He asks him to relay a message about an important meeting. However, Ganki sees through the ruse and accuses Gu Renqui of trying to avoid her, further fueling their tension. Gu Renqui is determined to find a way to talk to Xuan Zhao. He comes up with a plan to get her to clean his office. Though when Sister Wang shows up instead, he asks about Xuan Zhao and finds out she is out on a field assignment. Gu Renqui's attempts to talk to her are thwarted, which leaves him wondering about their strained relationship. In another situation, Ganki meets Dongxian at a KFC restaurant to ask for an explanation about Gu Renqui's supposed lie. Dongxian, being honest and straightforward, informs Ganki that Gu Renqui has a busy schedule and doesn't have any romantic feelings. Ganki, frustrated and hurt, declines Dongxian's invitation for a meal, expressing her dissatisfaction with her appearance and relationship struggles. Gu Renqui and Xuan Zhao coincidentally meet each other in a shop. Xuan Zhao notices the popularity of the strawberry milkshake and decides to buy it. However, her phone battery died before she could buy it. Unbeknownst to her, Gu Renqui observes the situation and later places the same strawberry milkshake on her office table as a kind gesture. Gu Renqui and Xuan Zhao purchase milk for each other without realizing their mutual act of kindness. When they meet to question the exchange, they recognize their joint care, exposing hidden feelings between them. As their stories interlace, their dynamics take unexpected turns, challenging preconceived notions and paving the way for potential understanding and connection. And that's how the first part of this drama ends. Well guys, if you liked this video and you want a second part, comment below with the word part 2. Also subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell and like the video. But most important, leave a comment. Until the next video.